What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it is my first time finishing Hades. I'm glad I can finally say that after a lot of up and down, not with the game itself, but just in terms of me playing it, not knowing if I'm going to finish it, when I'm going to finish it. I said in the last What I've Been Playing video that I was going to put it down, play some other games that were coming out, but then Hades 2 full release 1.0 got announced for September 25th. In a couple of days, as of recording this video, we will have the full version of Hades 2. So that just threw a wrench in all of my plans, and I had to finish Hades. I knew it wouldn't take that long from where I was at with that What I've Been Playing video. I think I had to finish a run 6 more times, and I did that. I ended up finishing a lot of runs and playing a lot more of the game, and I'm so excited to finally talk about it because there's so much to this game. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. I just wanted to get to Hades before Hades 2 came out. I've heard a lot of people say very good things about the game. Also, the second game being in early access, it's got overwhelmingly positive reviews for both games on Steam, so being able to finally say that I've finished it, and also still being able to say that I have so much more to do in this game it's great. I'm so happy with Hades, and I can't wait to talk about it. So without further ado, let's dive in. First, as always with these first time finishing videos, I want to talk about gameplay, dive into that first, and then we'll dive into the other parts of the game later on in the video. So the gameplay of Hades, it is a roguelike. It is one of the most popular roguelites out there, one of the most well received, and not really playing a bunch of roguelites. I've played a couple, I've kind of dived in a little bit to them. I like these games, but I just don't see myself playing them a whole lot for whatever reason. Off at the top of my head, I couldn't name a whole lot. I did make a review of a game called Dead Zone Rogue about a month and a half ago, and that was a roguelike experience. But past that, in the past, even before starting the channel, I really haven't gotten into a lot of these style of games, so this is a really good almost starting point to kind of dive into this genre. And man, did Supergiant Games kill it in every department with Hades. Speaking on gameplay first, a run is going to look a lot like this. You'll be in the House of Hades, which I don't really want to talk about in the gameplay part of the video. I might talk a little bit about it, but I also want to save it for a later part in the video because there's a lot that goes on in the House of Hades. But that is your hub for your character. You play as Zagreus, and we'll get into the characters and story later on. But when Zagreus starts a run, he'll pick which weapon he wants to use. He'll start off with one, and eventually you'll unlock. There are 6 different weapons that you'll unlock through progression, and you'll go and you'll start a run. And there are a few different levels to get through to get to the final boss. And the first level is Tartarus. You'll fight through there. Every single run is going to play different. The layouts are going to be different. The rewards are going to be different. The enemies that you'll see in these rooms are going to be different. And that's what keeps this game so refreshing and so replayable for every single run, is that no run is going to feel the same. You're always going to have something different going on, whether it be from the enemies that you fight, what weapons you use, the characters that you talk to, and the dialogue that you hear. It's always going to be different, and it's a game that really specializes in that, and making sure that you're not seeing the same thing at what. And I'll go ahead and say this, and we'll talk more about dialogue in the story part of the video. I have played almost 50 hours of Hades, and I don't think I have heard one single line of dialogue be repeated. Every single piece of dialogue that I have heard has been new, has been fresh. I don't even know how much dialogue they recorded for this game, because it's insane to me that every time I go into a boss fight expecting to hear the same thing that I've heard before, it's always a different line of dialogue. It's always something creative, and the lines of dialogue, as you progress and as you go further into the game, they build on each other, and you'll end up, naming bosses. At first, when you first start the game, you'll just have this boss. I'm not going to say any boss name, but you'll have a boss who is just called what they are, but then Zagreus, as the main character, will end up calling this boss a name, and then it'll get retitled to that name, and then there's more dialogue spun off of that name. Just little things like that. The little details that Hades gets so right is what makes it so good. I know I just went on a tangent about the dialogue, but I want to go ahead and get that out of the way because that, to me, is one of the most impressive parts of the games. I wonder how much dialogue they recorded for this game because, you know, people that are hundreds of hours and maybe even 1,000 hours in, I wonder if they've heard the same lines of dialogue. I just can't imagine. But getting back on track with the gameplay, so every run you're going to pick a weapon, you'll go in and you're going to make your way through. Each room gives you different rewards, and there's a lot of different rewards that you'll get from the Dark Thirst. I think that's what it's called. It might have a different name to it, but it's the purple currency that you can use back in the House of Hades to permanently upgrade Zagreus with the talents at the mirror in his room. You get those talents upgraded and they might give you more health, and each of the different talents has a separate talent along with it. So there's 2 talents per row, I guess, is maybe the best way to explain it. Maybe I'm not explaining it that well, but you're able to pick and choose which talents you want to use, and you'll upgrade those throughout the game, figure out your build, what you want to focus on, and eventually you'll probably end up getting everything and having that build that suits your playstyle. You also have things like gemstones, which you can use back at the House of Hades to give to the contractor to do things from small little cosmetic upgrades in the house. You can do the lounge and put different things inside of the lounge that just spice it up and make it look a lot better, or things in your room. If you want to add like weights to your room or pictures on the wall, you can do that. But there's also upgrades in the contractor that can help you throughout runs. Maybe add some urns throughout each room that give you a small amount of coins, stuff like that. That's where the gemstones come in. You also have the nectar that you can get, which you can give to the different gods. They can give you keepsakes, which are also things that you can use. Each run you can pick a keepsake, and each god and person of interest is able to give you one, and these all give you bonuses as well. There's so much in this game that just keeps you wanting to play, keeps you wanting to find everything. All the keepsakes are different. Like the one that you get from Ares is going to ensure that your first boon is from him, and your chances of getting a rare boon when you see Ares are higher the more that you do it. And each keepsake you can upgrade 3 different times, and you just have to do that by using them in encounters. So you'll start with a level 1 keepsake, and as you use that keepsake through encounters, it'll get to level 3, and the bonus and the bonus that you receive will be a lot better. So keepsakes are also a thing. Nectar can be used also in trading. There is a broker in the lounge area of the House of Hades that you can use to trade all sorts of different currency. Maybe you'll get nectar for gemstones. There's always different deals going on inside of the broker. There's a whole economy going on in this game as well. And the chthonic keys, that's what you use at the start of the game to unlock the new weapons, and the weapons as well. I know I'm not really staying on track. I was trying to go through all the rewards, but there's a lot of rewards that you can see and get in Hades that you'll just play the game and you'll figure out what all the rewards do. But there's a lot of different rewards and a good variety to keep things spiced up. And there's always, for the most part, a choice. Sometimes you'll have just a one-way exit to the next encounter, but for the most part you'll have 2 or 3 different exits and choices to make, whether or not you want to go get the Dark Thirst, or if you want gemstones, or if you want the chthonic keys. You have that choice in pretty much every encounter to get the currency that you want, instead of the game just giving you whatever it gives you. So that's also a great thing to have, is that choice. But getting back to the weapons all feel great. They're different from one another. You have the sword, there's a spear that's a good balance between melee and ranged attack, the bow and arrow, you have the rail which is more of like your almost full auto machine gun, which I wasn't a big fan of. That was actually the one, as of recording this, I haven't beaten an escape with that weapon, with the rail. I'm just not a big fan of it. I do want to try and do that, but that's the weapon I'm not a big fan of. But it's not a knock on the game at all. You're gonna find your weapons that you like and you don't like. That's with every game. It gives you these choices, and although there are 6 weapons in the game, you also have the Twin Fist of Malphon. They all have really cool names. Like the sword is called Stygius, the Twin Fist of Malphon, and then the last one I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I can't think of it, but I'm sure I will. Oh, what is it? It's gonna bother me if I can't remember it. Anyways, each weapon has different aspects. So although there's 6 weapons, each weapon actually kind of has like 4 mini weapons because they all play different. It's the shield. The shield is the 6th weapon I couldn't think of. So all 6 weapons have 4 different aspects, and each of these aspects play differently than the other ones. So even though there's 6 weapons, you kind of have 24 weapons in this game, and you'll unlock those with a certain currency you'll get throughout the game. There's also hidden aspects, which you can get just at random points throughout the game. I'm sure there's something you probably have to do to get these to pop and unlock, but it's always really cool to finally get someone to tell you how to unlock these hidden aspects and see what they are, and they're always so well worth the wait. There's so much going on in this game. You'll finish a run and it's always the repeating cycle, and when we get into the story part of the video I'll talk more about it, but the great thing about this game is when you die, it's not annoying or frustrating at all, because you actually feel kind of not happy but relieved, because you're going to go back to the House of Hades and see all these different characters, get to talk to all these different characters, further the plot, further the story, and with how well written and well acted that these characters are, it's always worth it. There's no frustration with dying, because you're going to be able to go back to the House of Hades, talk to all these lovable characters. They're going to have great dialogue. You might even see 2 different characters talking to each other and be able to listen in on their conversations. And there's so much going on in this game. The dialogue is great. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just the basic gameplay, there's a lot going on. There's all of these secret, not really secret, but hidden, left up to RNG type of events that can happen. Like you'll see a chest that could give you more coins or more health, and you don't have to do that, but it's optional if you want to do that. Or you'll have these events where you'll walk into a room and Hades sends enemies after you, and you'll have to survive for 45 seconds. There's all these events that happen throughout the game that also keep things spiced up that you're not expecting, but when you go in and it happens, it's always a great moment, because you don't expect it. It catches you off guard, and it's always a fun time. There's little fishing points that you can find in each region, and you can trade those fish in for more rewards. There's a lot going on in this game that I can't even hit on everything in this video. You just got to experience it if you haven't already. With the gameplay, it feels great. There's a dodge and a attack, heavy attack. You also have like a dash strike, and each weapon has its own little moveset, even with all the aspects. And the gameplay is what really stands out, just in a vacuum, because it is so smooth, it feels so great, it looks stylish. I can't say enough about how good the gameplay is in Hades. It's addictive. All of these elements come together and form what is probably one of the best gameplay experiences that you're going to get in any video game, regardless of genre. Even if you're not into roguelites, I would definitely at least give this game a shot, just because the gameplay is so tight, it feels so good, it looks great. The Hades gameplay is 10 out of 10. It is amazing, and I love it. Can't wait to keep playing it. And Hades 2, from what I've heard, just keeps this going. So yeah, Hades gameplay is fantastic. There are a lot of forms of progression in Hades, not just with the gameplay and getting stronger like you would normally see in a roguelite, but also with progressing your relationship with all the different characters and stuff like that. I know I briefly talked about the progression in the gameplay part of the video. There's a lot of things and upgrades and rewards that you can get that permanently help you get stronger, including the Mirror of Night, which is the mirror that you have in your room. You use the darkness or dark thirst, whatever you want to call it, to permanently increase your talents and give you bonuses based on a lot of different things. There's a lot of talents to mess with, like I said in the gameplay part of the video. Things like the chthonic keys are ways to permanently unlock weapons, and the gemstones are a way to permanently unlock different things throughout your runs or cosmetic items in the House of Hades. And there's a lot of progression as well, but also it goes along with the characters, because each character, like I said with the dialogue, there's so much dialogue, and each character has a lot of different dialogue that you can use the nectar to progress your relationship with these characters. You build that level up, and then you unlock new levels of dialogue every time you see them. And I touched on most of the progression in the gameplay part of the video, so this part of the video is going to be pretty short. But there is a lot of progression in this game when it comes to in-run progression, being exploring these different encounters, making sure that you see everything. There's little dots that you can find that give you more info and dialogue on different parts of the environments and levels, and just making sure that you're going down the different paths. In-run progression is great. Out-of-run progression is great when you get to the Mirror of Night, and also talking to all these different characters. Progression, again, in a roguelite is very important, and getting that permanent progression in this game feels great. And yeah, there's not a lot more I can say about it. I said a lot in the gameplay part of the video, and it still holds true. The progression goes along with the gameplay, and it is also great. Art style and visuals, man, again, Hades knocks it out of the park. The art style in this game is so good. Each character has been designed in such a way that, I mean, I can't put it into words how good each character looks, how unique each character looks. They all have this sense of style, and there's a lot of color in each of the characters, and it also helps with their personality. The artist behind the game, which I'm going to look up really quick just on the fly, because I want to give credit to whoever. I'm sure there's a lot of people that were involved with the art in Hades, but you can just look at it and you would love like a cartoon. I would love at least a cartoon or some sort of animation in this style, because man, it is so good. Gen Z, which is it's actually Jenzee. Gen Z is the artist, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people involved. So credit to Gen Z and also all of the people that were involved in the art. It looks like Hades continues that. The art direction is fantastic, and the visuals as well. There's a lot of great moments where you can kind of stop and smell the roses. Just look at the environment, look at everything moving around, and everything is like hand drawn to perfection. And there's moments where you can stop in each level and just kind of take it all in. And yeah, it's fantastic art style and visuals. In Hades 2, it looks like they're continuing the same thing, and it's going to be just as good, if not better. It is a unique art style, and it is a fantastic art style that I would love to see a lot more, not just in games, but just everywhere that it's possible. Comic books, however they can, spin it to get it into more forms of media, I would love to see it. The Hades art style and visuals are fantastic.
thing. That's the sun.
Let's talk about the soundtrack, which is composed by Darren Korb, who has composed all of Supergiant's games. And side note, let me know down in the comments if there are any other Supergiant games before Hades that I should go and check out. I've heard very good things about all of them. I'm not really sure what they're all about. I haven't looked into their previous games, so if there's any games or if all of the games are worth checking out, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about that, because I would definitely be down to try out more Supergiant games. The soundtrack is composed by Darren Korb, and like with everything else in Hades, it is so good. The soundtrack is fantastic. When I was looking up the soundtrack for this video to get it and have it be able to be in the background, I didn't realize the soundtrack was 2.5 hours long. And then I realized, I was like, yeah, you know what, that sounds right, because there's also a lot of music inside of Hades, from being in the house of Hades, or just the menu music and all the different boss fights and encounters that can happen. Man, the soundtrack is so good. It's worth listening to, even if you have no interest at all in roguelites or no interest in playing Hades. Go listen to the soundtrack. It definitely takes on more of a kind of rock and metal sort of genre to it. There's some lighter, more melodic moments, but I mean, going into boss fights for the first time and hearing the soundtracks, also going into, you're in Asphodel and meeting Eurydice, I think that's how you say her name, for the first time, and you're hearing her sing that song. It's so good. I'll play a clip of that real quick.
Good riddance to all the thieves, to all the fools that stifled me. They've come and gone and passed me by. Good riddance to all.
So many great tracks in Hades. I want to shout out a couple of them right here. I could talk about all of the tracks, but I'm definitely going to be, after I drop this game, which who knows when that's going to happen, I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. I'm going to be listening to this soundtrack for years to come. I'm going to have it on my Spotify. I'm going to have it wherever I can, to be able to occasionally listen to it and remind myself about how good this soundtrack is. The soundtrack in Hades, like all the other parts of the game, are fantastic. Last thing I want to talk about is story, and this game takes a very interesting approach to the story with it being a roguelike. I think it's a really smart way to go about it. It progresses the story, I guess, as most roguelites do, through all of the runs that you do. You're going to build more story, see more story as you play the game, but how it works in Hades is you're going to have to complete multiple runs to be able to see the full story through. You have to complete 10 runs in order to see how the main story ends. And I didn't know that going in, so after completing a run or two, I'm like, what's going to constitute finishing this game and rolling credits? And I looked it up. Everyone was saying you got to beat the game or beat a run 10 times. And I won't spoil how the story progresses through each run, but it does it in a really smart way to where you're wanting to go back and see the story progress. It's really, I'm being very vague about it. I don't want to get into spoilers here. I've done that with a couple of my first time finishing videos, but I want to say that the way that the story progresses from each run, you're wanting to go back and beat a run to figure out what's going to happen next, how it's going to progress, what kind of dialogue you're going to see. Story is very well done. It was a great story. And like I talked about in the gameplay part of the video, the dialogue in this game, every character is written so well, and it's so smartly written as well, where you'll go into a room, you'll take out the enemies in that room, and maybe you'll see a god, you'll start talking to them, and they'll bring up a previous god that you've already gotten a boon from, and they'll say something about that god, or they'll say something about the weapon that you're using, and there's tons of different lines of dialogue that are specific for each god depending on what weapon that you're using. It's so specific, so well written. It gets into the little minute details that just make you smile each time that you notice the dialogue that shouldn't be this good, but it is just this good. The characters are also well written, well voice acted, like Hades, Zagreus, Poseidon, Zeus. I mean, all of the voice acting is well done. And I didn't really talk about the setting, but I'm not really like a big sucker for mythology, but I've always had interest. And I think Greek mythology and Norse mythology, stuff like God of War, is always really cool. Getting in and seeing how, you know, crazy the stories can get with all of the gods, and seeing them in this kind of contained story, a family-based story where you play as Zagreus, and he is the son of Hades. He's the prince of the underworld, and basically he's just like a teenager that just says, I want to run away. I'm tired of being here. I want to leave. It sucks here. I hate it here. I want to run away and see what is out there. He wants to get to Olympus. He wants to escape from the underworld and get to Olympus, and that's what the main story kind of goes after. And it's a family-based thing where you're talking to all of your relatives, cousins, uncles, you know, Hades being your dad, his brothers and your uncles are going to be Zeus and Poseidon. So there's a huge family dynamic that goes along with talking to all the gods, and even the chthonic gods as well, like Nyx in the House of Hades. You have Achilles, Thanatos. There's so many characters, great characters, and the story being, it's a pretty basic plot premise, but it goes in a lot of different directions, tackles a lot of different things, and I want to get into some of the great writing moments, show you a couple clips of how great the writing really can get with the little minute details. I will also say there's going to be some small spoilers with the clips that I'm going to show you. They're just kind of things that you might not want to see and you might want to experience for the first time if you haven't played the game already, playing the game for the first time and experiencing it that way. So I'll show a couple of clips of great writing, dialogue, and also some great moments that happen throughout Hades' story, because it is one that is well worth experiencing, and at the end I felt very fulfilled. There's also an epilogue, which we'll talk about in a second, that I am very excited to see how that goes. So the Hades story alongside the rest of the game, if you couldn't tell, I love Hades. This game is so good in every department. and I cannot wait to see what Supergiant Games does with the sequel coming out in just a couple of days. So the story, fantastic.
That Shade boy is my newly designated contractor, one whose responsibility is to work on this house. Though who shall pay for everything my subjects here demand, I do not know.
You're trying to guilt me into funding the exorbitant furnishings you desire.
Perhaps once we are finished with repairs for all the carnage you have sown throughout my realm, then we might finally have time for all the needed renovations that have piled up.
Nice. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
You've got quite the fighting spirit in you there, I have to say. Most intriguing, and yet no surprise for someone born in hell itself. You come on out of there and tell me all about it. I'm a fellow student of death, you see.
Lady Artemis.
Uncle Poseidon blessed you, didn't he? To think that big fat oaf is your own father's brother. I'm told to be respectful near him, but it's hard.
Our realm. Explain to me how exactly this is possible, Nix. Either your limitless power has considerably waned, or you are up to something.
Do not question my power, Hades. Your son was bound to be discovered the closer he came to the surface. The Olympians are pleased to know they have a distant relative and bid him welcome to their mountain. That is all. Their influence is very limited.
Well, let's see. You've berated me repeatedly and often. You've lied to me, mustered your wretched forces to kill me over and over, but sure, I'll grant you that you've always kept most of your anger bottled up. All that's about to change, then?
We're gods, boy. Killing one another is our lot. Although I always thought I was above it. I told you that you cannot leave this place. It seems I must enforce my rules myself. I'm sending you home. Now.
I was a fool, you see. The gods promised me eternal glory beyond death. I could have stayed out of the war. Stayed home with Patroclus. I threw everything away. And sent so very many to this place.
That's Eurydice's song. Father's not back yet, huh?
So that is going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching, hanging out, talking about Hades. I am so happy with this game, so excited to keep playing. Even after Hades 2 comes out, I think I'm at 48 hours on Steam into this game. And after I rolled credits, I was like, okay, so that's it. I'm not really going to play the game anymore. But getting into what the game offered after that, and just keeps offering you things. There's so many things I haven't even seen yet. Weapon aspects I haven't discovered. I mean, there's so much more to see in this game that I want to go and seek out this epilogue that's going to take a couple more hours, a lot more hours it seems like, to finally see through. But I just want to see what this game has to offer. And it's a game that, again, I didn't really touch on performance. Runs fantastic, looks fantastic, and it's also like a small download size, so it's a game that I'm always going to have on my computer, because if I ever want to, I can just boot up Hades and do a run or two, because the runs are pretty short. They're about 30 minutes or less. Like, I'd say 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how fast you're going and if you're taking your time. But to have the ability to do that, everything that this game offers, it lets you do that. If you want to have the game downloaded at all times, I'm going to have that downloaded to be able to see the epilogue through, put 20, 30, 40 more hours into this game, even after Hades 2 comes out. I'm going to sink a lot of time into that to be able to make a review for you guys. But also, I want to be able to go back and play more Hades, because there's so much more to see in this game. It's well worth the full price tag. It's well worth it on sale. I got it on sale, but it's well worth it for any price that you can find it at, 'cause I think it's like $25 base price. It is so well worth it if you're looking for a game that's going to give you so much content. This is the game that you're looking for. Man, it's so good. I can't say enough about it to really hit home how good this game is. So I'm going to stop it there. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming in the future. Got a lot of games coming out, new games. It's going to be a lot of newer games, I feel like, on the channel. There's a couple of older games I want to hit on, but for the end of the year, with how many games are coming out, it's going to be a lot of newer games, including Hades 2. So keep an eye out for that. That is going to do it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I'll talk to you later.